This is FYI, a public affairs program of Strong Tower Christian Media on 93.7 The Light and Hope 100.7.
And welcome to FYI. I'm JT Bircham, and I get the honor to talk with interesting people about fascinating projects around Ohio. And today, Dr. Andrew Harris had a chance to go to Washington to try to find common ground. I am so excited to hear him talk about. I think he's going to help us at the Christmas table this year. Dr. Andrew Harris, welcome. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing well. It's really great to be here with you, JT.
Thank you so much for being here. Now, you recently, let's first of all talk about, you had a chance to go to Washington, and that those skills that you learned there, I'm going to kind of try to apply towards the Christmas table and families talking this year. But first, tell us about your trip to Washington. You were trying to find common ground with people of different beliefs.
Yes. So this past November, I went to the Religious Communication Association's conference, which we held in Washington, D.C., along with the National Communication Association's conference. And I've been involved in that organization since 2009. And over the past couple of years, I've been serving in the presidential track in the Religious Communication Association. So this past year, I was what's called the immediate past president, which means I was the president the previous year, and I was serving in an advisory capacity. So whenever we were gearing up to go to conference and meet with one another, my very excellent colleague Andre Johnson from the University of Memphis contacted us in the executive council and said we had a chance to talk with the Office of Public Engagement of the White House. So whenever he told me that, of course, I said, of course, I've got to take advantage of that and go and talk with the Biden White House about what we care about at the Religious Communication Association, which is the intersection of communication and religion. And particularly, it's very important to us that people of different religious backgrounds are able to communicate to one another as well. And so it's a very welcoming organization that with people from all different creeds who are able to get together and discuss the way that religion interacts with communication. So, with this opportunity, we were able to go and talk with Faven Solomon of the Office of Public Engagement and just explore ways that we could partner with them again as an organization. I'm at Cedarville University here in the Miami Valley, and we are a university that stands for the Word of God and the testimony of Jesus Christ. And it's very important, I believe, as Christians, that we share with people the gospel in a loving and caring manner. And when you go to Washington, the assumption is that people aren't going to listen, but there really are some very good people with beliefs that maybe aren't your beliefs, who are willing to listen. And I think that we found that uh, uh, in Faven, and of course around the table, everyone else who was there. You had people from all different religious backgrounds, different political backgrounds, which can be probably more difficult in ways than the different religious backgrounds. So I figured I would only have really an opportunity to say one thing really well. So I went in with the idea that I was going to talk with them about finding places where we agreed rather than focusing on the places where we disagreed. And I encouraged her and her office just to look beyond politics to our shared values and the things that we all care about. You know, even around that table, we had we had people who were probably Republicans and people who were Democrats and people who were independents. But all of us care about things like homelessness, the drug crisis, food security. All of us care about helping our neighbors. And I just encourage them to find the place where people from all different political backgrounds agree and make that a part of their efforts, both in public engagement, but also in policy. Uh, I believe that the next president, it doesn't matter if they're Republican or Democrat, that doesn't really matter. The next president who is able to find the place where both sides of the political aisle agree and uh, and really push into that and make that an important part of their presidency, they're going to go down as one of the most important presidents of the contemporary era.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I heard you say you were sitting around a table.
Yes, we were.
And so this Christmas, when families are sitting around a table,
Yes.
they've got to somehow come to common ground also. You got any suggestions for families who are trying to do what you did in Washington and come together?
Absolutely. So when we're sitting around a table at a Christmas dinner,
Uh-huh.
the last thing that you want to get into, of course, is politics, because that's going to destroy the Christmas season. And
Yes, but
it's
it always comes up.
right, it does. But I think that it's important for those who are listening to remember that Christmas is not about debate.
Right.
It's really important to remember that there is something more important that you have to talk about, and namely, that's if you are in a home that everyone around the table is a Christian. Well, then lean right into that. Lean into the gift of God's grace and about talk about the season and what this season means. But I know not everyone's going to have that opportunity. And even if you do have that opportunity, there might be someone else around the table who's not thinking the way that you're thinking. So I just encourage you, if you have someone who is there's that uncle that you have who's just going to lean into his politics, or maybe it's one of your parents, or maybe your children have they have taken a different political road than you have taken. I would just say don't try to stop them. Don't They're going to have their say. And if you push against them having their say, or you try to have your political say, it's not going to go anywhere but bad places. So just let them have their say. But when they decide they're going to say something about politics, maybe they bring up that they're just so glad that Donald Trump is running again and he's winning the primary, or maybe they have a different Republican candidate that they like, and they're going to talk about them. And maybe you're a Democrat, and you're like, I just really don't want to talk about the Republican primary. Let them talk about it. Maybe you're a Republican and they say they're just so glad that Joe Biden has restored sanity to American politics, and they go on and on. Don't push back. Don't push back around the table. Let it play out. You can have that important conversation. Maybe you have kids or someone that you have to talk with, and you have to push back against that with them. You can do that when you're alone with them. Instead, around the table, just ask what policies that 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 person you disagree with, ask what policies they like from the candidate. Uh, it's important for you to ask the question rather than pushing back in a debate, because it's not about changing how they are going to vote uh, in the next presidential election. You're not going to make that change right there around the Christmas table. You're just going to ruin your Christmas. Instead, use that opportunity to find out what they care about. What kind of local actions in your community do they support? So maybe you ask them, and they say, "Well, I just really like that this or that candidate uh, really cares about the drug crisis, and they're going to do something about the drug crisis." Okay, now you have a fact about your relative or your friend that now they care about this crisis that maybe is playing out in your community.
And you found common ground.
Exactly, you found
Yeah.
that common ground. So now it's important for you to play the long game. So now you can look around your community for those nonprofits that desperately need your help anyway, by the way. And you can find a place that is maybe helping those who are recovering from addiction. And you can begin to volunteer there. I know that's a big ask, but look, if you want to make a change, this is how you do it. So you begin to volunteer there. And now, maybe a month later, maybe the end of January, maybe it's Easter and you're getting together around that table again. Now you have an opportunity to say, I've been working with such and such organization right here in town, and right here in the Miami Valley. And, they're doing really good work. Hey, what if we got together as a family and we supported them somehow?
There
I
we
have
go.
a, yes, exactly. And now you have something to talk about that you agree upon and you are making a difference. So, if I was going to leave you with something, I'll leave you with a Jewish philosopher named Martin Buber told this Jewish parable, and it goes something like this. He says, "I was walking across the desert, and in the distance I saw a monster traveling towards me. And as I got closer, I realized it wasn't a monster, it was a man. And when I finally met the man, I realized it was my friend." And that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to eliminate that distance between you and your uncle, your father, your grandfather, your own children. You're eliminating it by realizing that the other side of the political aisle, they're not monsters. They might have ideas that are wrong, and you might want to, over time, hope to change those ideas, but you're not going to do that through debate around the Christmas table.
Yeah.
You're gonna do it by reaching out to them in friendship. C.S. Lewis says that friendship is two people side by side focused on the same object. And that's what you need to find around that dinner table. And that's what'll make all the difference.
Yeah. Dr. Andrew Harris, what a great reminder and challenge for us this Christmas season. I'm glad people like you are going to Washington. Thank you so much for going there and sharing your same message there. I hope they're listening.
I hope so too.
Dr. Harris, Merry Christmas, and thank you so much for sharing with us today. Appreciate it.
Merry Christmas.
This is FYI, a public affairs program of Strong Tower Christian Media on 93.7 The Light and Hope 100.7.